also known as Dragonfly7673. You're watching DragonflySoars. I'm recording this about 6:45 on Monday, February 25th. It is much later than I normally record. There was kind of a lot going on. I had a chiropractor appointment. I was late to the chiropractor because I forgot they were doing road construction. And so the route I take was slower than normal because they had lane closures. And then it turned out when I got there that the chiropractor was running really late anyway. So I was there a lot longer than I normally am. Normally I walk in, get adjusted, walk out. The whole thing is less than 10 minutes. And this time it was, I was there for almost half an hour, which is unheard of. They had a lot of, it sounded like they had a lot of people that had like fallen on the ice over the weekend. And so we're now coming in, so they were having longer appointments to get evaluated, and it just kind of backed everything up. Then I stopped and picked up dinner because if I'm recording, I don't really want to make dinner. And then I also, somebody contacted me on Ravelry saying, you have the exact yarn and dye lot I need to finish my project. Is there any way you would consider selling it? And since a lot of people on Ravelry do not want you to contact them unless they specifically have something in trade or sell. Some people will get really nasty about it. I'm not one of those. If you tell me, you know, I'm not, if you just say, hey, that's really pretty, can I buy that from you? I'm probably going to say no. But if you tell me, I've been looking all over for this yarn and this dye lot and you have it, I'm probably going to say yes. So this woman and I went back and forth yesterday and today, and it was just because of timing of when she would ask and I would answer. Settled on a price, and she sent me the money right away today, and so I shipped her the yarn on my way home. And then on my way home, I saw the most beautiful, huge orange moon, and there was no way I was going to be able to get a picture of it even if I stopped because I was along a road with lots of street lights. So I actually drove out of my way to go to the lake. I live right next to Lake Michigan. So I drove down toward the lake. I ended up seeing this absolutely beautiful view. I'm going to post a picture here. My photo does not do it justice in the least. So the view I saw was a big, gorgeous moon. There was a kind of a valley between the trees, and you could see the reflection. And all I had with me was my iPhone, and that's just not the kind of picture it can take. So you saw the picture. That's the best I could do. I have the memory. So it was just beautiful. It was worth driving out of my way to go see. I just wish I could have gotten a picture of it that even slightly resembled what I saw in real life. So, I do not have a lot to show you, but the things I have made good progress. So, you guys know that I went on my work trip last week. So it was 5 hours to drive up north. We went out to dinner on Tuesday night, which was originally not planned. I should have expected it, but I had not planned for it. Wednesday, we had all-day meeting and then a social dinner. Then some of the people went back to the bar. I went back to the hotel. There's a point where I sort of hit my limit, and I knew that because I didn't have my own, if I had my own car, I would have gone out for a period and then left. Because I knew that I was counting on other people driving, I didn't want to go out. And as it turns out, they didn't get back until midnight, and that wouldn't have worked for me. So, and then Thursday, we left earlier than planned because there was supposed to be a huge storm. So we got home sooner than planned. So best friend and I actually grabbed dinner that night. So during my trip, I did knit on the baby blanket. I knit almost the entire way up. I did not knit nearly as much on the way back. I was just feeling kind of eh. Plus, on the way up, I was in the front seat and I had lots of room to maneuver. And on the way back, I was in the back seat and I didn't have as much. But, and I knit on a little bit over the weekend, not much. So, the last time you saw this, oh my. Alright. The last time you saw this, I had just finished just this little rib garter stitch down here. Now I've got 1, 2, and I just did the 3rd cable repeat. So if you remember, this is the pattern. So I'm working on this section. So there's 1 turret, 2 turret. I just did the cable for the 3rd turret, and then there'll be a 4th one before I start the castle. So it's making good progress, and it's not quite mindless because you do have to pay attention, but it's mindless enough that it's, you know, you can talk to other people, watch a movie, whatever. So, and I do like, this is Knit Picks Brava worsted. It's their 100% acrylic. I did acrylic because it's easy wash and wear, so I really like the stitch definition. So I'm happy with it so far. Recently in the news, well, news if you pay attention to social media, Ravelry, Plurk, things like that. Knit Picks did have a credit card, they had a security breach. And a lot of people on Plurk have been complaining since the first of the year about how their credit cards are getting hacked. Well, then we find out Knit Picks was one of the companies that was hacked, and they didn't put out a notice, which has a lot of people mad and a lot of people saying they will never buy from Knit Picks again. I have an IT background. I know how hard security can be. I wish they had, they said they notified anybody who was in danger. I don't know, because we don't know for sure if the people that got hacked are the same ones. We don't know if the people that are having their credit cards hacked really got hacked from that site or from something else. Or if Knit Picks doesn't realize how bad it is. It's not really Knit Picks, it's Craft Americana, which is the overarching company. I do wish they had said something. They said they mailed out letters to the people that were affected. Who knows? I purchased that within the timeline, and I have not had a problem, and I keep a decent eye on my transactions. Although, I bought a pie when we were up north, because there's a place called the Norsk Nook that everyone was raving about their pies, and so I bought a pie. Well, the very next day, the credit card company said, we're changing your number and sending you a new credit card. They didn't call me, but now I'm wondering if it's because I bought a pie outside my general area. Who knows? But they're sending me one. Okay, whatever. So, I feel like I should touch on the Knit Picks thing, but I'm not really all that concerned. And maybe that's just me. I have had my credit card stolen in the past, and it is a little bit of a pain, but the credit card companies have been good about watching stuff, and I'm always good about, if I am going to do something abnormal, I usually call ahead and say, hey, I am going to Switzerland, or I am going, I'm going down to Florida, for a work trip or something like that. So, I don't know. Anyway, back to my blanket. So, pretty soon I will be done with the turrets, and then I have the castle. Now the castle is not something I can just carry around with me and work on. That is going to require way more concentration. So, I told you this is the C.J. Kopek willy-nilly that I showed you last week, and I told you I'm going to do the TGV high-speed knitting shawl with it. This should be an easy knit. So I went ahead and balled this up. So when I am done with the easy part of the castle and it is no longer a travel project, then the shawl, which is for the knit along for the CJ Copic retreat, that will become my travel knitting. So, and that should work out okay, because that's the knit along is until the retreat, which is in a couple months. It's the weekend of May 17th. Stop that! She keeps scratching my chair, and I tried covering it, and now she's discovered that she can scratch it on the back, which it's at an angle, so I can't do much. The whole chair is getting destroyed, and not only that, but she wakes me up in the middle of the night. Alright. So, I also, I need to block my malice. I told you guys it wasn't going to get done. And even over the weekend, this last Friday, I did only have to work half a day, thank goodness. But I ended up doing, I don't even know what I worked on anymore. Oh, I ended up doing some spinning, but my new spinning wheel, the Sonata, started making really funky noises. It was squeaking really bad whenever I treadled. And I kept exploring it. I kept looking at stuff, and so that took a whole lot of time. I just spent more time futzing with the spinning wheel than I did actually spinning. I did, however, look online and find out that you can, once I had established that yes, it was the hinges, which involved me being on my hands and knees with nothing on the wheel, just treadling with my hands and listening to where the sound was coming from. It was definitely the hinges. So on the Kromsky site, it talked about that you can either use candle wax on them, which I tried, but the treadles on the inside only open about this much, and I couldn't get the candle wax in the inside. So then it also said you could use dry silicone, which I didn't have any, but we went to Home Depot on Saturday, and I got this little bitty can for $1.68. And this can, if I don't lose it, will last me forever. So you don't need to do it all the time, but when I spun yesterday, it was like a breeze. No squeak, no nothing. It was beautiful. Saturday was a weird day. Best friend bought a quarter of a cow. So he had to go pick it up, bring it back home. He realized that he didn't, within the last week, he realized that he didn't actually have his chest freezer wasn't big enough to hold all this beef. And his chest freezer is 40 years old, so it also is not efficient. So he decided, okay, we really need to look for a freezer. It never occurred to us, you cannot go to a store, for the most part, and buy a freezer and take it home. Almost every place, Home Depot, Menards, Appliance World, H.H. Gregg, Best Buy, you have to order the freezer and they will have it in 5 days. After we're looking everywhere, he says, well, my neighbor did mention Sears. And all of a sudden I looked at him and I went, there's a Sears outlet around here. And I looked it up and went, oh my God, not only is there a Sears outlet around here, it's right next to my house. I never go there. Ever. Sure enough, we go in. He got a freezer that was bigger than what he had been looking at and less expensive than what he had been looking at. So, got the freezer, loaded in the truck, took the truck back to his house. Now, he doesn't live near me, so this is all a lot of driving. Took the truck back to his house. Together, we unloaded the freezers, got it into the basement, and then we had to meet his parents because we were going to the Milwaukee Auto Show. And not only were we going to the Milwaukee Auto Show, but this was my first time ever meeting his parents. Now, in the past, when we were just friends, this wasn't a big deal, but since we started dating, it seemed like I should meet them eventually, and at least this was an activity where we were moving around. And we got along, so we actually decided to have dinner, so we all went to dinner. I liked them. Apparently they liked me. All was good. Sunday, I said, we are doing nothing. So Sunday I spun and spun and spun because I was bound and determined to get this single done. Now you've seen this one, and you can tell these are different because this was from my woolly winder on my first spinning wheel, Pretty, who's the interlude, and this one's from the new spinning wheel, the Sonata, which is my new double treadle portable. They are mostly similar in thickness. I'm really curious. This one is not as smooth because I was getting used to the wheel. I was dealing with the squeaking. I need to remember to change hooks, whereas with the woolly winder I don't. I am hoping that when I two-ply them together, it'll all work itself out. I am hoping to get these two-plied between tonight and tomorrow because Wednesday I am going to my parents' house. I might be able to ply Wednesday night. It depends on what time I get there and if I take the wheel with me. But remember, there is a good chunk of purple in there. Here, let me post it. So that was the color progression. And there is a good chunk of purple, and I wanted that to also be part of February. So my malice, which is part of February, is not blocked. And my yarn that I'm spinning is not plied. So, and I basically have a couple days because it's almost the end of February. So, while on my trip, I knit on the blanket. When I was finally home, I spun, and that's all I worked on. So, reminder prizes. We have the Snuggle prizes, kitty bag, puppy bag, the stitch markers for both sets, and Sadie, even though she's not recording, she is closing the Snuggle thread February 28th. So, first thing, the morning of March 1st, I will close the February birthstone along thread, and I will close the Snuggle thread. I will lock them both down. So if you are entering for prizes, enter before that. This, of course, is our birthstone yarn. And there's also the matching stitch markers, which I'm not going to pull out because every time I do, I hurt myself. The tin is fine, but right now it has that protective cotton in there, and they're in plastic, so it doesn't quite close as nice as it does once you're actually using it. And I don't want to remove those because it's a prize. Yeah, so later this week, like I said, I'll do the same thing as I did last month. When I get up on March 1st, which is 6:30 a.m. Central, I will lock the threads. Like I said, that's just because I'm not waiting up until midnight. That should be everything. I'm sorry if some of it was rambly. I ended up telling you more life stuff than actually showing you anything. But you saw blanket, you saw my plan, you saw my spinning, and now I'm going to go and start processing this so I can also get my shawl blocked. So I'll talk to you guys later.